This child support thing is out of control, brother. You cannot let a woman destroy a man's life financially because the relationship is over. I mean, I think black men need to organize, and we, had this dialogue. Black men need to organize and force a change in legislation regarding child support.
The outfit's tough. I would personally not wear something like this just because it's not my style. But look at that. The contrast with the background, that's hard.
First of all, if I can't see my child, you don't get my money. If I can't see my child, you don't get my money. That should be law. Because too many women are denying us the right to see our children and yet still benefiting from child support. That should be illegal, number one.
Not cool at all, man.
Yes, and women should be forced to account for the child support too. Because I know a lot of fathers who pay child support and they still have to take care of their children after they pay child support because the mother of the child is using child support on herself and not necessarily the children. So yes, child support should go on a card. It should go on a card, Art. And you have to use that credit card for all purchases for the child. So that way, if the father wants to, Art, I should be able to log into my child support folder, my child support online profile, and I should be able to see what you're buying with my money. What is wrong with a black father logging into the child support database, going to my profile and seeing that she bought my daughter some shoes, she paid for swimming lessons, class pictures, they went to the movies and dinner. I should see how my money is being spent. And not all black women are guilty of misappropriating the child support. I don't want to say that they're doing that, but I do know a sizable proportion of black women are guilty of misappropriating the child support.
Dr. Umar with some more truth right there. And he's got the camo on. So, he's going to war with modern women. Maybe that's what's happening because that last video was out of character. But let's really play this out, like hypothetically speaking. I don't want to be negative about this particular, because I don't think anything's impossible. So I don't want to be negative about this particular situation. But I will say this. If there was a database, it would have to be the type that both people could see the transactions in that account. And the reason why I think that is possible is because when you look back to when COVID happened, what did they hand out? They handed out debit cards. Everybody got a debit card who was unemployed and could be compensated due to their employment because of COVID. And a lot of people who received those debit cards, you could probably go online because I remember Bank of America had a line. All the Bank of America's had lines coming out of them. And if they can do that for millions and millions of people, they could probably do something like that for a couple who has a child. The reason why I say you have to see the transactions, and it can't be something where you go on and fill out a form and tell them what you spent the money on, is then it leaves room for fabrication. It leaves room for people to lie about it, right? You'd have to see that, like, oh, that money was spent for that specific thing. Now, reasons why they probably wouldn't want to push for this. Well, number one, they would have to actually do a bit of work and investigation into auditing those transactions when somebody disputes something, right? When you look on there and see that, is that okay? Sally's wigs, she's buying hair products. No, stop it. I wish I had my sound button here. It's not working. But when you see that, you now flag it in, you set up a court date, the lawyers get to eat, but you also can assume that, hey, if this is right, then I pay less because she'll be penalized. And we see, then it becomes a problem of, are you penalizing the child, right? So it would have to be something along the lines of she would have to reimburse that money, and it'll be taken off. It'll be taken off the next child support payment. You see, it becomes complicated when the child suffers here. But the question then is the child suffering either way? Because not all these single mothers out here are truthful about the money that they're spending. They're not all truthful. And then a lot of these women will contest custody and want primary custody so that they could get more child support. The whole system is disgusting right now at this point. When you really look deep into it and see that they actually make money from a lot of child support, and a lot of the money that they make goes towards these other programs that they use. It's funded from child support. A lot of people don't know that. They're incentivized to keep these programs going. They're incentivized to go after you as a man for child support. So, of course, you're going to want to protect your seed. You're going to want to be careful now more than ever. And I think if there's change that could happen, and this is a controversial statement here that I'm about to make, if there's change that could have happened, I'll tell you when it wouldn't have happened or how it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened with the last administration. You can argue that and be delusional. That's not me saying that's who you should have voted for or not voted for. I am just saying if there's any time when something like that could be passed, when people actually care about what's happening within families, men's issues in particular, I think it might be now, right? Maybe that's hopeful thinking in your eyes. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let's check out some of these comments. Top comment here says, I agree 1,000%. Is this a woman? Okay, we have a woman here saying, I agree 1,000%. Somebody else here says, and if she has multiple baby daddies, all of them needs to be put on child support and not just the one that has a job. That's an interesting statement right there. You get penalized for being the responsible one, which is more reason to be careful. Somebody else here says, of the card should decline if it's not for clothing, childcare. Okay, so she's saying the card should decline if it's not for things that the children need. I agree with that. Here's another comment that says 10% should be in a savings account. And somebody else here added exactly that the parent cannot touch. Somebody else here says agree. Somebody else here added it can't be touched by anyone, only the child after they graduate high school. Ooh. Yeah. I see where they're going with that. Or even better, maybe some of it even in an investment account. But putting away money like 10% for that child when they turn 18, because they're going to be at a statistical disadvantage, is a very, 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 very interesting point that I think should be observed and looked into. Here's another comment that says, I'm glad I didn't have to go through this. Yeah, man, me too. And nothing's worse than when I hear a man talk about how he believes and feels like he's punished for being a responsible man who works, cares for his child, and wishes he could actually see his child more. I think I've got one more video here on the topic of child support that I know would be worth taking a look at. Let me see. Where is it? Let me see here. It's a short video too. It's not that long. Here it is. All right, here we go.
I'm known as a deadbeat dad, but the real deadbeat is the one who collects child support. You didn't like what I just said there? Well, let me ask you a question. Why is it that involved fathers are forced to pay child support when they're already supporting their child, but the dads that aren't involved in their child's life don't have to pay any child support? So seriously, ask yourself, who's the real deadbeat here?
What do you think? Something for you to think about.